So the first couple, you just had to test. Now remember we said there's a test for this. And we always forget to do it, and we don't really do it too often. But it has to pass these two situations, these two conditions. This is what's going to make it approximate a normal curve. Because otherwise it doesn't go based on your size. It goes based on this. So the first one, we did the multiplication. If your n is small and one of your p's or q's is very low, chances are it might not pass. So the first one, you had nothing to do because we can't use it. Okay? So we say, nope, don't do it. Not too many do we say, no, don't do it, or we don't have a problem to do. The next one, it passes both tests, and n is very large, so it's probably definitely going to pass. And set this up. Remember, your HA is the tail. Your HA is a right tail test. Here I am right over here. My critical value. I'm back to z-scores. So if this little area underneath here is 0.04, I want to find a z-score that corresponds to 0.04. Inverse norm. Inverse norm. We're back to inverse norm. These are your z-scores. So 0.04. Just come down and paste. Now, remember, this is going to give you, ladies, this is going to give you the negative part of this. Make sure you, if you're on the right-hand side, that you make it positive. Okay? That's your critical value for cutoff. You're going to label this section, reject HO. And this failed to reject HO. This is your test statistic. And I will give you the formula for this. So I will give you this formula. Or your calculator. Works like a charm. I'll put it in your calculator as well. Get your test statistic. This is negative. It's falling well over here. But we still want area to the right because it's greater than. So it's using all this area. Make sure you get a good placement on where you're going with this. So I'm in the fail to reject. If I tested p-val, it's an odd situation. I don't want the area to the left. I want the area to the right because of this statement. So then I'd have to subtract that guy from 1 and test my level of significance against that. And I clearly pass. Clearly pass. On your calculator, this is nice on your calculator, stat test, it's a 1 proportion z-test. If you hit the z and the t, you'll find no standard deviations here. So that kind of gives you a hint. What it's looking for is here's your population statement. That's my 0.7. These are in decimals. I need an x and an n, but they didn't give me an x and an n. They gave me an n of 225 and a p of 0.70. So, or where's my p hat? P hat? Where's my p hat? Over here. P hat of 0.64. So you're just going to take these two numbers and you're going to multiply them. Instead of saying x out of 225, they just already set your proportion up. So just multiply them. Because we have to put the x and the n in here. Make sure you do not get a decimal. If you get a decimal, you need to round. So I get 144, makes life easy. Out of 225, and when you do this, you follow your tail, you calculate. It will also show you your p hat. So this is a good check. Is that my p hat? Absolutely. All these p's. This is your population statement. This is your z-score. This is your p-value associated with that z-score. Remember that z-score this time is the area to the right because it's shaded to the right. I don't usually like the p-value test for this because of that reason, but you can even catch it off your calculator. Can everybody do this? Any questions? Next one. We test it. We cannot use this one. Again, my P is high, 0.95. Q is 0.05. 5% of 50 doesn't cut it. So cannot do that one. 9 and 10. I wanted you to test p-val. Again, I set this up for reject region, but I decided to have you set p-val. So we're going to come down here. We're going to find your test statistic. We're going to say, here's your level of significance is 0.05. So if my level of significance is 0.05 and I'm a left tail test, I need to find my area for negative 1.96. So again, look it up in your table. Look it in your table. So your area should be 0.0314. Now, test this. Test your p-val against your level of significance. Fill these decimals in. After the decimal, you can fill in as many zeros as you like. Less than or equal to. Follow your chart. I'll again give you the chart on your test. So when my area is smaller, we can kind of see it right here. My area is smaller than what the smallest one that I'm going to allow. As the book says, more extreme, because it's off the end of the curve even further. I have to say reject H0. If my claim is my HA and I reject H0, I kind of go along with this. And I'm going to use the support words for this because that's what we find over there. So I'm saying there's enough evidence at a level of significance of 0.05 to support the claim that less than 25% of U.S. adults are smokers. God bless you. Can everybody interpret this at the same time? Can you all make sure that you also say, if I use the word support, that my claim should be an HA? Do that before you start, because this way it keeps you in sync. Questions? Okay. One more p-val. I know I tested reject region, but I just wanted you to throw in p-val so that you didn't have to do them both at the same time. Okay, so we get our claim at least. Remember, at least that's the least it can be. Think money in your pocket. If you have at least $10, you have $10 or more, greater than or equal to. That's got an equal sign, so that's my HO. My HA is my less than. If I look here, the word reject the claim, that means it's telling me it's an HO. Is my claim HO? Yep, I'm in business. My tailed is a left tail test. Again, I am more extreme than that, but let's test by your area.
Zachary southward, please report to the main office. Zachary southward to the main office.
So your area for this, your p-val, area under the curve, is 0.0099. You're testing that against your level of significance. And your level of significance, fill it in with zeros, slightly less. It's still less. It's very close, but it's less. So you're going to reject H0. Rounding is really important on that one. So if you reject your claim, you kind of have to go along with the HA. So we say there is enough evidence at the level of significance of 0.01 to reject the claim that at least 46% think that the IRS is too lenient. Good. And the other two, reject region. A medical researcher claims that 5% of children, when they claim that, that's the is statement. There's no more than, less than, that's the is statement. Have asthma, equal to asthma. So that's your is statement. Again, when I come down here and I see the word reject the claim, I know that's my HO. And the HA, the two-tailed test, remember because it's two-tailed on your number line, it's two-tailed on your graph. Label your graph and find your cutoff. When you find your cutoff for this, you have two tails. So when you do second VAERS and you come to inverse norm, you got two tails this time. So your 0.05 divided by 2. Make sure you divide by 2. It's ridiculous today. Make sure you divide this by 2. So you get a negative and a positive on this. Alright? Label your graphs. I want to see reject HO. Don't say reject. And do not say reject claim. Reject HO. Okay? Do your test statistics. This is nice because you can see it's way, way out on that little piece of tail out there. 3.34. It's in my reject area. It's more extreme than what I'm going to allow. It's off my chart further than this side. The area to the right of that, far smaller than this. So I say reject H0. So if I reject H0, I kind of have to go along with the not equal to, but I have to say there is enough evidence to reject the claim that 5% of children have asthma. Okay? It doesn't say, am I saying more or less, I'm just saying reject the claim. Okay. And a Humane Society claims that less than 35% of U.S. households own a dog, and in a random sample of your 400, we should do the test and make sure N times P is greater than 5, N times Q is greater than or equal to 5. We test this claim. Again, is there enough evidence to support it? That tells me I'm an HA. I'm a left-tailed test. I have to find, if this is my area, do your inverse norm and find your cutoff value. Do your test statistic, I'm way over here. So I failed to reject H0. That's this guy. If I fail to reject this, I cannot support this because I got to keep this. I think it's more than 35, but I have to follow my table and say there is not enough evidence at a level of significance of 0.10 to support the claim that less than 35% of homeowners own a dog. This is critical, that you can interpret this. This is your decision. So when I ask you for a decision, this is the statement that I want. This or reject H0. When I ask you to interpret, this is what I want. Questions at all? No? Okay. So what we'll do is a little review.